Hello and welcome to STV News. I am Okemute Imunira. President Muhammadu Buhari has constituted an Economic Advisory Council. It has Professor Doyin Salami as chairman of the 8-member council. A statement by the presidential spokesperson, Femi Adesina, hinted that other members are Dr. Mohammed Sagagi as vice chairman, former CBN governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo, Professor Ode Ojowu, Dr. Shehu Yaya, Dr. Yabo Masha, and Mr. Bismarck Rewane are in the council. The Joint National Public Service Negotiating Council and the representatives of the federal government have again failed to reach an agreement over relativity and consequential adjustment for the implementation of the new minimum wage. General Secretary Trade Union side Alade Lawal told journalists that the organized labor will decide on next line of action towards the issue of the minimum wage. He disclosed that the meeting is deadlocked because labor found out that the federal government officials are not serious about it, leading to them suspecting foul play or a hidden agenda. Chairman of the Labour team, Simon Achanva, said Labour negotiating team has also resolved to write to the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress TUC on their advice to consider an industrial action. The House of Representatives resumed plenary on Tuesday after an annual recess that lasted almost 2 months. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, in his opening speech welcomed his colleagues and charged them to resume legislative business in earnest. The Speaker also used the occasion to ask all ad hoc committees to hand over to the standing committees for further legislative inputs. Critical issues such as the early passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill, reintroduction of estimated billings, incessant xenophobic attacks on Nigerians in South Africa also topped the agenda. National Assembly correspondent Grace Ike reports that the Speaker at Tuesday's sitting introduced a new system of members reciting the national pledge at the beginning of each sitting. South African government on Monday formally apologized to Nigerians and the federal government over recent xenophobic attacks on foreign nationals, including Nigerians in that country. President Cyril Ramaphosa's special envoy to Nigeria, Jeff Radebe, conveyed the apology when he met with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa, Abuja, on Monday. Addressing State House correspondents after the closed-door meeting with the Nigerian leader, Mr. Radebe said President Ramaphosa had already directed the law enforcement agencies to apprehend all those involved in the attacks.
We met a short while ago with His Excellency President Buhari, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to convey our President Ramaphosa's sincerest apologies about the incidents that have recently transpired in South Africa. Those incidents do not represent what we stand for as a constitutional democracy in South Africa, and the President has apologized for these incidents. And he has also instructed law enforcement agencies to leave no stone unturned, that all those involved must be brought to book so that the rule of law must prevail in South Africa. There, I do understand that this issue of compensation restitution is part of the agenda items in the draft that the Nigerian government has presented to South Africa. So I think let's wait until the 3rd of October to see how that unfolds. But I can indicate as a lawyer that the South African law requires that all registered companies must have public insurance in terms of things of this nature.
The recent xenophobic attacks on Nigerians in South Africa have again brought to the fore the need for citizens to explore opportunities within the country rather than in lands where they are second-class citizens. But government must first provide the enabling environment for the creation of opportunities and for its people to thrive. To this end, a non-governmental organization is providing a platform for players in and out of government to interface in order to work out a way forward.
Many have discovered that the search for greener pastures outside the country have not necessarily landed them in lands flowing with milk and honey. The recent outbreaks of violence in South Africa only touch upon a fraction of what Nigerians go through in lands where they seek their fortunes.
No matter how you go outside your country to go and look for greener pastures, this is your home. Because I heard that they were singing the national anthem and being joyous of coming home. So as we live here and to go and look for better greener pastures outside, we're actually second-hand citizens. Nobody will treat us better than Nigeria here. So what can the government do?
This gathering is about finding a way for government and citizens to interface to chart a way forward.
When I educate you, you educate me about the FRS or the tax, would I not want to pay more tax? I won't be fighting not to pay tax because Nigeria is a taxless country. We don't really pay our tax. A lot of people don't understand it. It helps, first of all, if FRS comes out and say, okay, we need you to pay your tax so that we can have better roads. Is that not making Nigeria better? We need it to have better transport. Okay, we need to teach, like the education sector is coming, schools are coming, why your children should not be hawking.
A key strategy must be entrepreneurship, as citizens must be conditioned to embrace self-employment rather than the elusive blue-collar jobs.
I believe in entrepreneurship, how skills can be actually used. Individuals can actually make their names and do what they know best with their hands. That is the first step, educating these individuals. Those that went to school, how do we get more skills to get into this particular place? If it's through IT, if it's through any of this handwork, if it's hair making, whatever it is.
If this event, scheduled to coincide with the Independence Anniversary celebrations, achieves its objective, it would have kick-started a robust engagement between government and the people of Nigeria.
The People's Democratic Party Governors Forum has expressed support for the decision of the PDP and its presidential candidate in the February 2019 election, Atiku Abubakar, to appeal the verdict of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal at the Supreme Court. The tribunal had upheld the victory of the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, President Muhammadu Buhari. The chairman of the forum, Serake Dixon, on behalf of his colleagues in a statement on Sunday, also said the judgment stood the justice on its head. He added that if not challenged at the apex court, it may constitute a cork in the wheel of the nation's developing democracy. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Muhammad, has asked judges to redouble their efforts in discharging their responsibilities in the new legal year. He said this while declaring the 35th Annual Judges Conference in Abuja open at a brief ceremony. The acting Chief Judge, Honorable Justice Temba Soho of the Federal High Court, also reiterated the efforts of the Federal High Court to get more judges.
At the special court session marking the new legal year, efforts will be made to see that new judges are appointed to help achieve our goal to quickly and efficiently adjudicate cases pending in our courts.
Chief Justice instructed me to say congratulations to each and every one of you for coming to the new legal year. Chief Justice also implore you to redouble your effort in discharging your judicial functions.
As the war against banditry rages, the force headquarters has allayed fears in some quarters that the Federal Capital Territory is under siege following recent abduction for ransom of 2 persons in the capital city. In a statement, the force also dismissed reports of rising crimes in the nation's capital city. Correspondent Sam Gwefon compiled the report.
Like any other state capital in the country, the Federal Capital Territory also has its own fair share of security challenges, where the incident of kidnapping appears strange until early in the month when a lecturer Bakar Kali of the Bayes University was kidnapped and was rescued last week by the FCT Police Command.
The incident of the lecturer from Bayes University occurred on the 8th of this month. The only recent one was the one that happened on Saturday, and the command is currently carrying a discreet investigation into it.
The command spokesman said the reported kidnap of one Aisha Umi at the weekend was not enough to conclude that FCT was under siege.
The Federal Capital Territory is safe and secure for all for the members of the public. The command has in place adequate security measures.
In line with the Inspector General of Police directive, he expressed commitment of the command to root out all bandits terrorizing residents of the satellite towns.
To the criminal elements, let me sound this note of warning loud and clear. Give up your criminal activities, embrace other legitimate means of livelihood, or be prepared for the consequences of your criminality. The citizens and the police are now united in their resolve to take the battle to your doorsteps and bring you to deserved justice.
The public may be apprehensive over the new development, but it's left for the force to disabuse the minds of people by living up to public expectations.
States in lowland areas have once again been warned to take proactive measures against flooding. Director General of Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, Clement Nze, says flood-prone states have not taken past warnings seriously. Correspondent Hyacinth May sent in this report.
Over 30 states are currently experiencing one degree of flooding or another, with attendant consequences of loss of lives and properties, as well as dislocation of social structures of society. Nigeria's geographic location of downstream of 8 other countries that make up the Niger Basin also causes river flooding in the country.
The red alert of the flood level in the upper catchment of River Niger in Niani was at 10 on the 6th of September. That this flood that was cited there will eventually come down to Nigeria, being downstream. So we have to be prepared. That's the essence of what we did today. So that other states, the states in Nigeria, Kwara, Niger, and so on and so forth, up to Kogi and then downstream, should be expecting the flood.
The worry, according to NIHSA, is that most affected states pay lip service to flood warnings from the agency.
We even wrote to some states that we are coming to do events in their states. Not that they are coming to sponsor it. We are coming to do it in their state to tell them what is happening, going to happen in their state. They will tell us not to come. It happened. I'm not trying to. So we try as much as we can to reach out to the states, but many of them don't respond to us.
At present, it is reported that River Benue is rising steadily owing to local rainfall with heavy inflow from tributaries of the river. These may likely cause river flooding in places like Adamawa, Taraba, and Benue states.
You're watching STV News, reaching you live from Abuja. We'll be back with more reports after this break. To stay with us. Welcome back. The price of oil witnessed a massive increase on Monday following drone strikes on a Saudi oil facility over the weekend. This has so far shut off more than half of the kingdom's daily exports, as well as the world's crude production. Our business correspondent, Chinemiram Joseph, in this report finds out if it is bad business for Nigeria.
Fears of escalating conflict in the Middle East have gripped the global oil market following the drone attack on Saudi Arabia's biggest oil production facility over the weekend. The country currently holds almost half of global crude reserves. The attack has already caused a spike in the price of oil in the international market, increasing from $60 to over $67 per barrel. Back home, Nigeria had projected its oil benchmark for the year 2020 at $55 per barrel. Against the backdrop of this latest development, there are concerns that the federal government could adjust its projected benchmark. Government, however, says it is too early to consider any adjustments.
We will be monitoring the situation. If it becomes sustainable, then there might be need to adjust. But for now, we'll maintain the benchmark rates that we have established in the budgets.
This energy expert also buttresses the Minister of State's stand if the United States sees through to its promised intervention in the oil market, and also if OPEC resists additional quotas from member nations.
If OPEC does not intervene and US does not intervene, the impact on Nigeria is that we shall be able to sell more crude.
The Minister of Finance, however, adds that Nigeria has a lot of lessons to learn from Saudi Arabia's attack.
If Saudi Arabia, that has very sophisticated security systems, is affected in this manner, it means we are also vulnerable.
For all markets, this is the single worst sudden disruption ever. While Saudi Arabia may be able to return some supply within days, the attack highlights the vulnerability of oil price in the international market. From the nation's capital, Chinemerem Joseph, STV News.
The Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, says the proposed value-added tax increase of 7.2% is yet to take effect. The minister, who stated this during an event in Abuja, said consultation is ongoing with concerned stakeholders and the National Assembly before implementation.
This increase is one of the recommendations of that committee, amongst others, that needed to be implemented as part of the condition for the approval of the minimum wage. The process we are adopting is to do consultations on the increase, including consultations with the National Assembly. VAT is a consumption tax. It's not applicable on food. It is not applicable on any medical care equipment or medicaments. It is also not applicable on transport. So if you decide to go to the market and buy food items and go home and cook, you're not paying VAT. But if you decide to go to a restaurant and have a meal, you will pay VAT.
You're still watching STV News. We'll bring you news from the foreign scene after this break. To stay with us. Welcome back. And now to international stories. Israelis are voting in their country's second general election in 5 months. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called the snap election after failing to form a governing coalition with a viable majority after April's vote. The final opinion polls put his right-wing Likud party neck and neck with its main challenger, the centrist Blue and White Party, led by former military chief Benny Gantz. Smaller parties could therefore have a big say in the final outcome. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said he will wait and see what the judges say before deciding whether to recall Parliament. The Supreme Court will hear 2 appeals that will determine whether the Prime Minister acted lawfully in suspending Parliament for 5 weeks. Edinburgh's Court of Session said the shutdown was unlawful, and London's High Court said it was not a court matter. On Monday, the Prime Minister visited Luxembourg for Brexit talks, but the European Union said it was yet to see concrete proposals. Oil prices ended nearly 15% higher on Monday, with the Brent benchmark seeing its biggest jump in about 30 years. The rise came after 2 attacks on Saudi Arabian facilities on Saturday knocked out about 5% of global supply. Brent crude initially surged 20% at the start of trading, but eased back to end at $69 a barrel, up to 14.6%. U.S. oil prices finished up at 14.7%, the biggest jump since 2008. Prices fell back after President Donald Trump vowed to release U.S. reserves. The strike, which the U.S. blames on Iran, has sparked fears of increased risk to energy supplies in the region. You're still watching STV News. Next is sports after the break. To stay with us. Welcome back. And on the sporting scene, Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, has stepped in to resolve the resignation of Super Falcons coach Thomas Dennerby, who tendered his letter on Monday. This and other stories by Chuku Ikechukwu. Take a listen.
The senior men and women's 3x3 basketball teams and the under-18 boys and girls have commenced camping at the Package B of the National Stadium, Abuja, in preparation for the 2019 3x3 FIBA African Nations Cup, which comes up in Kampala, Uganda, from November 7th to 11th, 2019. Canopilas two of Oko Lucky Subel and Godwin David were invited alongside Abuchi Ibe Agu and Ayola Wisdom of Gombe Bulls. Coco Victor Antonio of Rivers Hoopers and Indibe Emmanuel complete the list of invited players for the campaign, which opened on Sunday, 15 September 2019, as they hope to improve on the bronze won in the 2018 edition. First Bank's Okoro Ifunaya coming from a solid performance at the African Games in Morocco, and another call-up to the camp alongside teammates Kalani Sumbo and Ume Gloria of Plateau Rocks. Agbotan Sources, Oka Chinwe Hope and Teresa Mark Dangoso complete the list of players invited for the women's team. Moving on, where the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, has stepped in to resolve the resignation of Super Falcons coach Thomas Dennerby, who tendered his resignation on Monday, 16 September 2019. Media reports had it that Dennerby submitted his resignation letter to the Nigerian Football Federation, stating that some of the federation officials are frustrating his efforts. The minister, on his official social media page, stated that he has been briefed about what led to Dennerby's resignation and will return him back to his position as head coach of the Nigerian senior national team. The Swede, who gathered the Falcons to victory at the 2018 African Women's Cup of Nations in Ghana, fingered internal factors leading to his resignation. Staying in football, where after 46 days in the hands of our abductors, Bayelsa State Police Command has given a firm assurance that Mrs. Beauty Siasia, who was kidnapped on the 15th July this year at her residence at Odoni Community in Zagbama local government area of Bayelsa State, would be rescued. Uche Anozel, the Commissioner of Police, Bayelsa State, made this known in Yenagoa, the state capital, while addressing a news conference. He said the police have made useful progress that has given them a lead to some locations in the creeks where the victim was suspected to have been kept. The police boss, however, lamented that the abductors' tactics of constant change of locations have thwarted the efforts of the operatives to rescue the 79-year-old Madame Siasia. Anozie explained that the technical team of the command is tirelessly working in collaboration with other security agencies to ensure the release of Miss Beauty Siasia, the mother of former Super Eagles coach Mr. Samson Siasia. And to for a Moroccan club, Wydad Casablanca said they will return to the Court of Arbitration for Sports over May's African Champions League final result. It comes after Sunday's meeting of the Confederation of African Football's Appeal Board, ruling that Tunisia's Esperance won the title in May. Wydad's president Said Nashiri confirmed on Monday, as he was re-elected as the president of the Moroccan Football League, that they would go to CAS as permitted by the CAF statutes. The second leg of May's Champions League final ended in controversy, as well as Casablanca refused to continue playing after a row over the video assistant referee system. Play was halted when VAR was unavailable to judge a disallowed equalizer. VAR had been set up on the side of the pitch, but the players had not been told it was not working, although officials were aware. The referee then awarded the victory to three-time former champions Esperance. And to Europe, where Lionel Messi is in Barcelona squad for Tuesday's Champions League opener with Borussia Dortmund after recovering from a calf injury. The Barca captain last played in July during the Copa America for Argentina and has missed Barca's opening 4 games. Messi was passed fit by the medical team to return after Monday's training session. Barca have only won 2 of 4 La Liga games without Lionel Messi. Ansu Fati, aged just 16, is also included in the squad after 2 goals and an assist in 116 minutes of La Liga football. Other opening day group phase matches in the UEFA Champions League include Napoli vs Liverpool, Benfica will take on RB Leipzig, Olympique Lyon will play Zenit St. Petersburg, Inter Milan will score up against Slavia Prague, and Red Bull will tackle Ghent. And finally, Manchester United goalkeeper David De Gea has signed a new contract to stay with the club until 2023. De Gea has made 367 United appearances since Sir Alex Ferguson brought him to the club from Atletico Madrid in an £18.9 million deal in June 2011. De Gea capped 40 times by Spain, helped United win the Premier League title in 2012-2013, the FA Cup 3 seasons later, and both the League Cup and the Europa League in 2017. The Spaniard, who has consistently been linked with the move to Real Madrid in recent seasons, was in the last year of his contract and would have been able to open talks with clubs outside England over a possible move in January. That's all on Sports Updates.
And that's the Nest TV News. Thanks for watching. I am Okemute Imunira. Good afternoon.